Dragon Ball is a series that has had more English dubs than one may expect. Pretty much each of the 4 main anime series has had at least 2 dubs to their name. But one of these dubs has risen above the rest in terms of infamy. A dub so strange and baffling that at this point, it's become just as well known as the Ocean and Funimation dubs. For those of you unaware, this was an early English dub for 9 of Dragon Ball Z's films, as well as the history of Trunks and Bardock OVAs. They are infamous for their name changes, hilarious voice acting,
their power is really extraordinary,
poorly translated script, and general lack of quality. But how did these dubs come about? Who made them? Why were they made? And are they really that bad? All of this and more are soon to come. But first, we must begin with a place so feared and loathed that merely uttering its name can be a death sentence. France.
Who is he? Where is he from?
When it comes to the history of Dragon Ball, the people behind this fever dream are actually a lot more important than one might expect. AB Group is a company that principally specializes in broadcasting. They own several TV channels in France, Belgium, and Luxembourg, such as AB1, AB3, RTL9, Chasse et Pêche, and even the Dutch porn channel XXL. Off to a good start, as you can see. AB Group held the broadcasting rights as well as some of the distribution rights to Dragon Ball in parts of Europe and Canada during its late 90s to early 2000s international resurgence. They're well known in the Dragon Ball community for commissioning alternate Canadian-made dubs of OG Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT, as well as a sort of continuation of Z's original Ocean dub. These were made to get around Canada's rather infamous content laws, which state that at least a certain percentage of TV broadcasts in the nation must be homegrown. At one point, however, AB Group decided to follow in the footsteps of post-Saban Funimation and do their own in-house dubs, this time of Dragon Ball Z's various movies. Why? I have no idea. I thought for the longest time that it was also to get around some sort of content law, but nobody really knows. If I had to guess, I'd say they didn't want to go through the hassle of licensing Ocean dubs of the first 3 films, or didn't want to wait for Funimation to dub the remaining films. They wanted profit, and they wanted it now! The creation of these dubs was an ordeal in and of itself. Most of the voice actors that we know of were Americans or Brits living in France at the time, or French actors that knew English. The dub used the video masters, audio tracks, and even the scripts from the old French dub in the early 90s. This is a poor choice in and of itself, as the French dub was notorious for its poor translation. Not much is known about the production of the dub itself, principally because it has incredibly rushed. Goku's actor, David Gassman, paints a pretty clear picture of what went down behind the scenes. Quote, "As for Z, none of us knew the series at all when we did it. I bought a ton of episodes and watched them after, but it was too late. We could have been so much better if we knew what the hell we were doing. AB was in a hurry, and we kind of just showed up and ripped through them. I'm actually sort of proud that they were even as good as they are. In fact, there's even some debate over who even made them in the first place. While the most likely answer is AB Group themselves, given Gaspin directly references them, some have suggested that a company called Chinkel Post-Production did it. Nobody really would have known because, due to how rushed these films were, no English credits were included on any of them. Once your respective film ends, the original Japanese credits will roll, all the time. It's also because of this that the full list of actors has never been disclosed. Some, such as David Gaspin as Goku, Sharon Mann as Krillin, and Jodie Forrest as young Gohan, have come forward about their involvement. Other actors, such as Doug Rand, Ed Marcus, and Paul Banby, have also been identified. However, the full list is still largely unknown to this day. These dubs were primarily intended for TV airings, and are most well known for being broadcast in a full marathon on Toonami UK in 2005, alongside similar dubs for the first 3 Dragon Ball movies and GT's single special. I won't be covering those simply because I want to keep things simple, but I might make a follow-up one day, who knows. All 11 dubs were given releases on home video in the Netherlands via Bridge Entertainment, with the UK eventually getting home releases for the dubs of movies 2, 3, and 4. More releases were planned, but ultimately cancelled, likely due to low sales of the DVDs as well as Funimation's movie dubs already being well underway at this point. Thankfully, all 11 dubs have been preserved online and can be easily found on archive.org. So now I can cover them. Hooray.
You like that, huh?
So yeah, I watched these films. All of them. I did so in a similar order to the numbers on the Netherlands DVD's spines. Movies first, OVAs second. Film 1 was released last, which is confusing, and I didn't watch it like that. Side note, but these titles are hot garbage. They're more or less direct translations from the original Japanese titles, but done very, very, very poorly. This is why Woolseyisms are important, people. Dead Zone is called In Pursuit of Garlic, which just sounds like a very dramatic trip to the supermarket. History of Trunks is called Gohan in Trunks, which is a frankly woeful descriptor of the film's actual contents. These feel more like descriptors you'd see on the back of the DVD case as opposed to the actual film's titles. Getting into the films themselves, first off, they look like garbage. Sorry. Everything looks so dark and desaturated, it genuinely looks really ugly. DBZ home releases tend to look really bad across the board, but I'd say this has got to be among the worst. Akira Toriyama's Wonderful World Teeming with Life looks so brown and unfun and depressing. It's like a 2000s military shooter. I know this was done on the cheap with a tight deadline, but for goodness sake, could y'all have not done at least a little color correction? And these are from DVDs, mind you, not VHS tapes. Shocking, I know. But the problems just keep piling on. The most important part of a dub is the voice acting and dialogue, and here it's...
Oh yes, the hatred that Dr. Jero fed into his memory banks grew exponentially to dominate all programs.
rough, to say the least. For one thing, everyone has a severe case of motor mouth, and that's coming from me. They just talk so damn fast. Garlic Jr. is easily the worst example. He just flaps his lips at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Eliminate all those who, over time, one after another, rejected us, humiliated us. Oh, I've dreamed of this so for a very long time. I will curse all the inhabitants of this despised planet. I'll put an end to their peaceful harmony.
This might not even be so bad, but the voices... Oh my. I'm sure these are all very talented people, but the direction they were given, assuming they were given direction at all, it was hot garbage. I'm sorry. So many of the voices are just completely unfitting for their characters. Krillin and Turles' voice actors especially.
When I set out to find you, I thought you would be a warrior who would be a real challenge.
Why do these things always happen to me?
This, combined with the awkward deliveries of many of their lines and how fast everyone talks, makes the dialogue feel really stilted and awkward a lot of the time. And don't even get me started on what happens when automatopoeias start getting involved. But then we get to the writing end.
That's right, everyone of my race can become a giant gorilla. I'm truly sorry, little one, but I have to have a clear conscience.
It is choice. First off, the name changes. Krillin is now a Clearin, Bulma is now Baluma, Saiyans are now Space Warriors, and of course, Piccolo is now Big Green.
Big green.
Big green.
Big green.
Big Green!
And that's not mentioning all the minor name changes and mispronunciations. How any of these happened, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with being directly translated from the French dub. Sort of a game of translation telephone, if you will. The dialogue sucks as well. There's a lot of stuff here that straight up doesn't make any sense at all. Like in the first Broly movie when Vegeta's walking through Paragus' castle and sees Goku sitting on the window. He says, out of nowhere,
It's you. You came all this way so you could die here?
like, huh? Dude, he's just sitting there. It makes a bit more sense knowing that in the original Japanese version he says, have you come all this way here just to have me kill you? But still, kind of a weird way to rephrase that. The original feels more like a mocking jab, while the dub line feels very out of place. In general, the dub script is just bad. It's so unrefined and terribly written, and while I get it was translated into English by a company based in France, that still doesn't excuse how shoddy it all is. I won't lie though, I still love it. It's just one of those things where it's so weird and bad and off the wall that you can't help but enjoy yourself. In Tree of Might, Super Battle in the World, the scene where Yamcha's jet plane gets destroyed has added dialogue not in the other English versions, where he mentions that he took out a 15-year-old loan to buy it, which is,
I had to go into debt for 15 years to get it.
Actually kind of funny, not gonna lie. Here's some other examples I also liked, intentional or otherwise. Happy Easter.
We've got an account to settle right now.
A little later if you don't mind. Wrong decision.
Good Lord, it's God!
I will change the future! He's as fluffy as a marshmallow sandwich. Did they say why? Did they say?
Come on, give me your best shot!
What is this? I thought you were dead.
I couldn't die knowing you're still alive.
Say the line, Bart!
Let that child alone.
So yeah, overall, these dubs aren't really good. They aren't as bad as the Speedy dubs for sure, and they have their moments, but they're just not very good at all, even considering the time frame they were made in. Even still though, I'd say they're worth watching for their comedy value alone. It's just so weird and strange and unusual that I kinda love it. It's like The Room. Anyway, let's move on to the conclusion, shall we?
Oh, Big Green dead?
The AB Group dub is an odd cookie, for sure. Nobody knows much about where it came from, it's got a lot of odd choices in it, it saw a very limited release, and it's overall just kind of an anomaly. Imagine if these were the only English dubs of the Dragon Ball franchise. That Ocean, Blue Water, Funimation, Saban, BLT, or Harmony Gold never existed. These don't make for flattering representations of their source material, to say the least. But regardless, they are good for a laugh. They've been a running joke in the Dragon Ball community for years at this point, and are just as big a meme as that one time Brian Drummond said the thing. While AB Group is still in existence, they're now going under the name MediaWan, and these dubs have basically all been abandoned by them. Thusly, they are relatively easy to find online and equally easy to watch. I actually recommend you steer clear of those best moments compilations as, while they are easy and fun to watch, the funny bits are best enjoyed when they sneak up on you. Like it'll just be a normal scene and then out of nowhere Garlic Jr. says, "Good Lord, it's God," with the best delivery ever. Or Goku will start yelling like he's holding back puke, or Tenshinhan will start talking like a muppet. The Big Green dubs have a special place in the hearts of many Dragon Ball fans, both for their nostalgic quality and for how completely batshit insane they are. And hey, that's gotta count for something, right? Now where's my hubby?